Humidus podcast.
In a time of strife, microtransactions, and greedy CEOs, two humid chosen bring you light among the schmegma. We bring you our top 10 picks from Gamescom 2020.
Oh yeah, welcome everybody to the Humidus podcast. Today we're gonna do a special Gamescom Humidus style countdown of the top 10 greatest picks.
And it's our personal opinions, so
No, this is objectively good, the best.
Objectively, yeah. This is you can rank it among Shakespeare, like on that level of importance for literary opinion.
I mean, our opinion is written in the fabric of the universe, okay? It's not something to be debated. This is the top 10. Absolutely.
If you publicly disagree with this, what's going to happen is like time and space are going to switch places.
Yes.
And we will be thunderfucked.
I mean, I wonder what that would look like if you kind of inversed the time and space. I don't even know how.
I don't even know if that's a concept, but that's going to happen. It's going to happen.
But I think that it is a concept because on the inside of a black hole, the axis of time and space are in like kind of switch place. So yeah, that is a thing.
It can't be anything good, that's for sure. So keep that in mind before you publicly disagree with the list.
Or jump into a black hole. Okay. Do you want to kick it off maybe, or do you want me to go first?
Yeah, sure. So do we just like do one each, right? Keep it going like that?
You can do the first introduction, yeah.
All right. So, number 10, Solasta. So... Solasta, another Dungeons and Dragons CRPG kind of thing.
Yeah.
It looks pretty fun. I think, especially because it focuses a lot on dice, it has the possibility for a lot of dank things to happen.
Yeah, I think it's like a good, maybe a multiplayer kind of turn-based game.
Yeah, I agree. But unfortunately, it's going to release into early access this fall, which it's going to be, set opposite side of Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that's going to hurt the sales quite a bit.
Probably be overshadowed.
Yeah, but it looks fun,
Yeah, it does look fun.
The thing is, we don't really know too much about it, but it. Yeah.
Or it doesn't say that it has a multiplayer function, so I think that you can look over somebody's shoulder playing it and enjoy it.
Or you can hot seat it. Yeah, you can hot seat it as well.
You can hot seat it. Yeah.
Whenever it's your character's turn, you just like switch seats and you just switch the mouse.
And remember, guys, this is the curriculum. This is the objective truth. Okay.
Yeah, so it's the only way to play. It's the absolute only way to play. Humidus certified.
All right. Yeah, but I think that's why it's like on the number 10 spot, because it probably won't be groundbreaking.
Yeah.
And it probably will be overshadowed by Baldur's Gate 3, like you said.
Yeah. Seeing as, Baldur's Gate is a potential super heavy hitter by the developers of Divinity. Divinity was fucking amazing, and Baldur's Gate is, of course, Baldur's Gate. So it's the same genre, it's the same. Everything is pretty similar here, except Baldur's Gate is a super heavy hitter. So it's unfortunate, I guess, for Solasta, but I'll definitely be picking it up at some point, down the line. If the reviews are good, of course.
Yep. Okay. The next number is 9. Number 9. And it's going to be the remake of the old city builder Pharaoh. I mean, did you play the original?
I used to watch my cousin play it a lot, and I played a related game, Caesar 3. which is
Yeah.
pretty similar. And I didn't understand much of it because I was quite young.
No.
But
Yeah. That's like often the case with these kind of old. This was 1999, I believe.
yeah,
Which is the release date of the original Pharaoh. And I mean, often the mechanics are quite complex. So since we were very young, I was a little bit older though, but still, it was kind of hard to get a full grasp of it.
yeah,
But it looks good, and I do love that these types of games get remakes because it's so rare that we get a kind of city builder, a pure city builder.
yeah.
So, and it does look really good. The trailer looked like polished and nice and
Yeah, and I think with these
fresh.
kinds of remake, it seems like the mechanics, if they brushed up the mechanics a little bit, it's gonna hold up better than
Yeah.
other types of games, such as like let's say platformers and stuff like that. When you remake them, I have a feeling that this is still gonna bring a level of depth and strategic entertainment.
It does have I feel a small niche to fill.
Mm-hmm.
This type of city builder game, which is not too prevalent these days.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't think they. Let's see here. Yeah, it'll release in 2021. And yeah, you're gonna have the campaign and free build, and just like the old game, you're just gonna build a city during the different kind of eras of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
It's has a long history. It says here more than 100 hours. These types of games can drag on if you want them to. So
Yeah.
I bet that probably people won't play it for 100 hours.
Yeah. So I mean, all in all, it's gonna be interesting to watch to see how it unfolds. Number 8, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Now,
Yeah.
I'm thinking this might be a potential entry point for me into Ratchet and Clank because I haven't. I grew up watching some of my friends play Ratchet and Clank, but I never had a PS2, so I never really got that experience myself. I just watched, and but
Yeah.
with Rift Apart, it's like the new technology and all that. The mechanics, the rifts themselves. I feel like they create so much potential for creativity with how like you can bring in any types of enemies and just like be fully creative as much as you want, and how they showcased it with the smooth transitions and like all the epic scale stuff that just keeps happening. Dinosaurs crashing into it and like giant robots and everything's just like torn to pieces. Basically, what happens if you disagree with this list in public?
Yeah. So yeah, I think you're right on the head with this one. The technical aspect of the game just looks so polished. It's incredibly smooth, and the transitions with the rifts and stuff just blows it out of the water. And we saw the PS5 gameplay demo, and we praised it then, and like that's what I remember, from that demo, that it was so amazing. And I think that speaks volumes. So just on that alone, it gets the number 8 spot. But I don't, like you, I don't have a lot of experience with Ratchet and Clank. Just like watching some YouTube videos, watching my friends play. Not really a seasoned player here, so I feel that fans of the game probably are much more hyped.
Oh yeah, and if there are some fans among your listeners, please let us know. Like, how do you feel about this? Because of course, for us as outsiders, we can look at it from a sort of almost objective standpoint. But look at like we can tell that the quality is good here. But what do you guys think? And
yeah, what do you guys think? And it's number 8. So,
but there's this there's this one thing about it that I want to say, like, because you know how the weapons have always been like a staple thing about Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm being a little bit of a small time psychopath here, but I feel like some of those weapons, I feel like it's lacking a little bit of that splash, that goo. You know what I mean? Because like he went around with that enforcer shotgun, and it looks like as if it should completely obliterate them, but then they just like kind of ragdoll because it's a kid's game.
But you grew up with Doom.
Yeah, I know.
The thing is that they want to market this as a kids game,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that that's like their main focus, their main demographic. And they do have guns, you know, and a lot of weapons. So there's only so much parents will accept, you
Yeah,
know.
I know. It's just wishful
If you
thinking. I mean,
fucking splatter like some kind of alien creature into a million small bits and goo splashes everywhere.
well,
I
I
think
mean,
that's too popular.
if you if someone else out there feels like making an edgy Ratchet and Clank kind of game, please do, and please let me know.
Kind of like Conker's Bad Fur Day
Yeah,
mixed with Ratchet and Clank. That would be really cool.
I
Don't
think
you
so.
think?
Yeah.
Like an overly violent and kind of sexualized Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, and really fucked up story too, with like a lot of edgy, dark elements that are kind of like
Mm.
exaggerated and being ironic. I think that would be that could be pretty fun.
Yeah, that would be that was actually a good idea. Okay. Number 7 is Little Nightmares 2. And yeah, this is a highly stylized sequel to Little Nightmares 1, of course. It's a puzzle platformer, and it's like set in this horror setting, which is really well done, I must say. I think that like, from an art perspective, this was the best trailer we saw.
By far.
It was so kind of the aesthetic and all of the models, and yeah, I guess it's kind of to be expected because this is their focus. This is kind of one of the large aspects of the game.
Yeah.
Uh,
Did you play the first one?
No, no, I did not play the first one, and this is not my kind of game. Let's, but
Yeah, yeah.
but I do love this style here, and yeah. Did you play it?
I
First
didn't
one?
play, but I watched quite a few videos of it,
Mm.
and from my perspective, it looks the previous one looked like one of those kind of like a fucked up version, or no, a more fucked up version of let's say Limbo, and
Yeah.
it looked really interesting, but not but also it's not 100% my type of game, so it wasn't interesting enough that it pushed me over the edge to buy it. It was like enough to watch a let's play.
Yeah.
And I could tell that it was good, art design and all. But like Little Nightmares 2, with all the new things that they do with the art style and with the depth with the
Mm.
2.5D, when like they did more with the backgrounds and those fucked up twitchy weird creatures that follows you and stuff. This one
Oh
looked
yeah.
a lot more intriguing and a lot more creepy. So this one I'll probably buy, I think, because
Did you play as the guy with the bag on his head in the last one?
no, the one with the yellow cape or like rain
Okay.
jacket.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So yeah, Little Nightmares. If you like puzzle platformers and you like the horror aesthetic, I think this is a really, really good package.
Yeah.
And it's due to release February 2021.
And now we're on to number 6, which is Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. That's a handful.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, Black Ops 1 and 2 with Mason, Hudson, and Woods was always the best story. I feel the most intriguing one, and
Yeah.
3 took it in a different path, but 1 and 2, the story they presented there was, I really like that. I really like the characters and the more fucked up kind of. Oh yeah, and it carries over from World of War too with Red Snob, and it was just something about they did so much more with the story there. Like of course I love Soap and Price and those two, but the story here I feel like is a more epic, compelling package. And the same comes with if they kind of bring that level, what they did for Modern Warfare, if they can bring that same level of quality to the new Black Ops. Like I don't really care
Yeah.
about the multiplayer yet at this point. Even just the single player itself is like I'm all for it. I'm really down.
Yeah. And yeah, it feels like the single player is a big focus in this game, and
Yeah.
they kind of talked a lot about the Cold War aesthetic or setting rather.
Yeah.
And and like the kind of vision for the game and how they were inspired by the previous Black Ops, but also tried to innovate a little bit, you know, and be kind of a little bit more daring than the standard COD line of games. Try to experiment a little bit more, which has been like the hallmark of the Black Ops series. You know, to rather good reception, I think. And I always liked Black Ops single player, like you, or the campaigns, more than the standard COD series.
Yeah.
And this setting has the potential to be really, really cool with like late 80s or 80s. I just love that, you know. I love all the weapons and the gear from that time, and the, you know, planes and technology and fascinating military epoch.
Yeah, all the experimental gear resulting from the arms race and all that.
And you feel like there's nothing like the United States can't do, you know, and you never know what the Russians kind of have in their maniacal pockets.
Yeah, so this one has potential. I'm pretty hyped for it, and we'll see how the multiplayer turns out. Like, you know, because Modern Warfare, the multiplayer there is arguably the best in a long time. I feel. And so, you know, I don't expect this one to be maybe as good, but if it's something similar, then yeah, I'll play it a lot. I always do. I'm a COD slave, sadly. But the single player here, I'm also pretty hyped for. So
oh yeah, the single player is going to be really good. I think that if I buy this game, it's going to be primarily for the single player, not for the multiplayer.
Yeah,
because that standard kind of FPS multiplayer, I just don't have the time to do it, or it's a really easy to get into kind of game format, but I just don't enjoy it anymore as much as I did. You know, when I was young. We kind of played it out, you know, played it to death. That type of FPS shooter multiplayer.
Yeah, I think Modern Warfare brought me back with the gunsmith and the level of customization and stuff that really did a lot.
Yeah, that's right. So like they have to kind of make it interesting.
Yeah.
Right. They have to innovate enough so that it's like interesting. And it's not the same old COD multiplayer. Okay.
Yeah. So well, we'll see. I'll be optimistic for this one for once.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But we put it high, so we better be optimistic. Okay, moving on up the list. It is number 5, and here we find Star Wars Squadrons.
Yes, sir.
And as you probably know, this is like the next big EA Star Wars game. It is a space combat game, and it's kind of like a mix between an class-based FPS and like a space combat game, because you have different classes and you pick. It's like
loadouts and stuff.
Yeah, there are 2 like multiplayer modes and 1 single player. I don't know if it's a story. Yeah, it's a story. And then you have like 10-player dogfights and fleet battles that are similar to dogfights, but they kind of have the goal to destroy the enemy's capital ship, I guess.
Yeah,
and probably some kind of sub objectives also.
But what we got to see at the Gamescom trailer was primarily focusing on the campaign, the story.
Yeah.
So what do you think of that, though?
I think it looked really good. I'm kind of positively surprised, because we were kind of up in the air about how much they were going to focus on that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, that's not how you make money in the modern gaming world. It's the multiplayer and it's the player engagement. But you know, us old timers, we love us a good single player, you know, campaign.
As far as I understood about this game too, it's not going to be full price. No. So it's kind of like a smaller title, but it looks really cool, and I like how they have the immersive mode going for them with the cockpit and if you want to, you can do everything.
VR.
Yeah, VR. Yeah, VR is one thing, and then the other thing is that like how you can just remove the HUD elements and just have use the actual
Yeah, like
cockpit
that.
readouts
Yeah,
and the immersion.
just look at the instruments and stuff.
Yeah, which I think that part is really cool, and it looks like one of those games where it's probably not so hard to get into, but really hard to master. But once you master it, you can do some really cool shit. Some of it was showcased in the trailer as well with the campaign, like when you saw the especially the Imperial TIE Fighter pilot, how he would just like escort a shuttle. He just did a 180 to engage the coming fighter pilots, and then how he like they did all these kind of smooth maneuvers to make it look cool and all that. And I'm sure the elite players of this are going to pull that off, on the fly in game, and it's going to be hella good to look at. The story also looked to bring in Hera Syndulla, a great character from the Star Wars Rebels series.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I
think
mean...
it does have a lot of potential, this game.
Number 4, Dragon Age 4. Huh? You see what I did there? Yeah, we ain't amateurs.
This is the pro list right here.
Okay. I mean, who else would think of this, huh? No, but in all honesty, Dragon Age 4 is a little bit of a wild card. It has the potential to be fucking amazing because Mass Effect, the first trilogy was amazing with some controversy towards the end. Dragon Age 1, like Origins, I enjoyed that to death. Dragon Age 2 was okay. It wasn't too bad, but compared to Origins, it wasn't, all that. But Inquisition was pretty amazing, was kind of like a return to form. However, BioWare has not been the same lately. No. They've shifted out like a large part of the team, blah blah blah, and Andromeda was a big fuck up, soulless fuck up, and I feel like they still have a lot to prove still, to prove that they can still deliver that BioWare magic that we experienced in their heyday. And if they do, Dragon Age 4 is like a great platform to do so. They can do amazing stuff with it. But I'm still cautious that they might make another "my face is tired" kind of fuck up. So
yeah, I mean, one would think that they learned from that giant fucking mistake. I mean, that's not cheap. At all to make such a blunder. The potential of Dragon Age 4 is sky high.
Yeah,
but we're still not sure if we're back to form with this one.
Yeah, so
we'll just have to wait and see. But what did you get? What's your impressions from like the trailer?
It's kind of hard to say. I thought that some of the things they showed off looked pretty promising, especially in terms of like scale, because and art design looked promising. There's a lot of cool concept art, and I'm sure that it's going to look amazing, graphically. Yeah. So, and they also showed off Solus, which was a pretty interesting character from Inquisition. So, this is going to be a continuation of Inquisition, or it's going to be a direct follower to that. I'm pretty sure. And that's cool. So that means that they're staying close to the narrative, hopefully. It looks more on the promising side than it does on the be cautious side,
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's like it just feels like it's got so much potential to do right. So just gotta hope for this one. I only played the first Dragon Age, and I kind of followed the others on YouTube. I only got the good.
Yeah, you did. Well, I'd still say, considering you can get Inquisition for if it's on sale, it's like $5 now. It's still that's very worth picking up. But this is probably gonna be a purchase for me.
I'll consider it if it looks good. I'll buy it. Do you have anything more on that?
No, I think we're ready to move on to the amazing top 3.
Okay, we're into the top 3, guys. Number 3, it is 8-Bit Adventures 2. See what I did there?
Yeah.
So this is probably a surprise if anyone has watched the lineup. But we just when we saw 8-Bit Advent, I mean 8-Bit, the series, there are a lot of 8-Bit games that are called 8-Bit, like Heroes and Armies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But this is a classical NES style JRPG, which is like right up my alley.
Yeah.
And right up Steph's alley too.
Oh
So,
yes.
but this, I mean, the first 8-bit adventures was not. I mean, it looked good. Don't get me wrong on this one, but this one does just look so polished and so just mixes it up with a very very nice type of balance, I think.
Yeah, of both new and old.
Mm-hmm. And
So
kind of borrows from more modern RPGs. Like it looks like it has the Final Fantasy X style kind of queue on the right side
yeah,
in battle mode, where you can see the turn, so you
yeah,
can kind of plan ahead and see whether or not you're going to be able to heal or you know get a buff in before some certain attack.
right.
And I just love that mix that they've done here, and the execution looks to be at least really really nice.
And the sprite work
Hmm.
is a piece to behold, though.
Yeah.
Because like one thing is the very NES style, world map and like the main characters and all that. But then once you get into battle, the enemies and the backgrounds and everything, it looks really nice. It's really beautiful,
Mm,
and it looks like it
yeah.
has a lot of cinematic elements to it too, which is kind of like, I guess, the modern um,
Flair of
influences.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, like, and the first 8-bit armies was like that was kind of true to the NES. That was
yeah,
like an NES game, but this is more like an NES game spruced up with some Super Nintendo sprite work and like with a modern inspiration,
yeah,
even a bit beyond Super Nintendo. I feel at sometimes, but still kind of keeping the aesthetic. So it's like a child's 8-bit fantasy
yeah, yeah.
of
It
what a
is.
game could be like back in the day.
Oh man,
So
imagine tapping into that stuff. And like, I mean, the developers described it as everything you love about NES, SNES, and PS1 era JRPGs, with all of the charm, heart, and soul, but none of the inconvenience. And I couldn't agree more. That's exactly the impression I got from it.
yeah, and that just hypes me so much. I mean, and it's not even. I think it's not. It's gonna release in 2020, so it's not that far away.
The demo is out.
The demo is out, and
All I'm gonna do after recording.
yeah, everybody listening, just go download the demo. Okay,
And it
support the
seems,
developers.
yeah, support the developers, please. And it's also says, it rewards a lot of exploration, it seems, and it has like very deep party customization. I love that.
Mm.
Yeah, just this. I expect also the story to be the cliche kind of JRPG chosen ones kind of.
Yeah, but if they execute it right, I mean, I think that a lot of not to get your hopes up too much, but I mean, a lot of modern, well executed JRPGs have like a they kind of try to stray a little bit from that true and tried formula with regards to the story, and sometimes that doesn't work at all, but sometimes it really really gets like the characters to feel even more fleshed out and even more kind of real.
Absolutely. And I think this is the type of game where when I say it's the typical kind of JRPG story, I don't mean it in a bad way. It's kind of like part of the charm as well.
It is part of the charm.
It's one of the few cases where that is the case,
Yeah.
And I think that they've also probably put a lot of effort into doing what you say, break from the mold as well in some ways and bring some modern storytelling qualities to it. So I think that, but just the fact that you traverse by airship, huh?
Mm.
How
That is so
cozy and nostalgic. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Yeah. and kind of like all the different environments. I see that they've been creative with different towns and aesthetics. Like it's not all generic.
Yeah.
And that one image, did you see that with the airship kind of floating above with the floating island in the
Yeah.
background? Oh my, yeah, that's just so like that's 10 out of 10. But it still only gets number 3, so
That should say
that means
something about the remaining
yeah.
two.
Oh yeah. So do you want to take it away?
Number 2 is none other than Medal of Honor Above and Beyond. The VR
Mm.
hopeful return to form for the Medal of Honor series, and I couldn't be happier. And I couldn't
Mm.
be any more tempted to buy a VR.
No, and like me and Steph discussed before we went on air, this, I mean, the constant temptation to buy a VR headset is like something you always have to fight these days, because
Yeah.
there are like a lot of promising VR titles, and it's just they just keep coming. So maybe we should cave, but still, it's so expensive.
Yeah, it is. And that's the sucky part of it, because like, yeah, I guess for if you want like a decent VR set and like those motion controllers, you need to at least fork out like what, $300, maybe 400.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
still, I don't think there's enough games yet, but this one is pushing me far towards the edge, because like,
oh yeah,
it's developed by, among others, Respawn, and Respawn Entertainment has a great portfolio of games, because they have Titanfall 1 and 2,
mm,
which, I mean, though they didn't receive as much commercial attention and success, well, I guess they were successful, but Titanfall 2, when it was released, was largely just disappeared. And the thing is, it has one of the best, smoothest gameplay mechanics, like shooting mechanics ever. It feels amazing to play.
mm,
And so they really know how to nail gameplay. And then they also made, of course, Jedi Fallen Order, which has amazing potential. So I mean, the fact that they're making a VR game about Medal of Honor, they're bringing back the World War II. The soundtrack is back, the feeling is back of like that, doing all that undercover stuff. On one
mm.
side, then also you take part in the giant like classic historic battles, and
Oh yeah.
it looks mechanically amazing too, like how they reload the guns and like how the shooting works. And
Yeah.
I'm just so hyped for this. This is like, yeah,
It is a system seller for like all of the VR headsets, I think.
yeah, man,
Uh, so, like you said, the setting is perfect. The technology seems to be there.
it
It seems
does.
to kind of blend well, and that's kind of what we've been waiting for a little bit, at least, because the technology has been certainly at an acceptable point now for a long time, but
Yeah,
you still have like the small kind of gripes here and there, and like the VR is first and foremost an immersion technology. You
yeah,
need to that's what it's for. You need to feel that this is not um, this is smooth, this is implemented well. You need to feel that, and not be obstructed by small janky things here and there. And I feel that this game really, really looks like it can do it all. Be a
absolutely.
AAA game
Yeah,
and still be a VR game. And not be too uh, kind of restrictive because it's VR,
yeah.
and feel like a full-fledged game, and also be augmented by VR, like it
That
should.
yeah, that's absolutely what I'm hoping for, and that's what it looks like it's shaping up to be as well. So I mean, we've seen some amazing titles for VR lately, such as Half-Life Alyx,
Yeah.
and even so back as like one of those games that really got my attention for VR is like the Blade and Sorcery.
Yeah.
Like a melee game in VR as well. It's just like I'm all for it. And these things, it's steadily bringing out more. And when I saw that Star Wars Squadrons has VR as well, like flight games in general looks amazing in VR. Horror
Yeah.
games are like, I can't wait to play a horror game in VR because I have still yet to test a new VR system. But I think that there are some game types that really benefit from VR, and you know, I'm just moving further and further towards caving.
Yeah.
So
And it kind of looks like the developers are sorting it out, you know,
yeah,
picking the right genres and kind of matching the technology to the right type of game.
absolutely, and it's an exciting future, and because I think it's still regarded a little bit as sort of like a gimmick,
Mm,
but
it is.
but it has the potential to be more than that, you know.
Yeah, very much. I remember when kind of Oculus and all these headset makers really got some traction, you know,
Yeah,
and the hype for VR was really, really high at that point, and it has died off a bit, but some people were very skeptical and thought that it would kind of really just die off and be commercial failures, but it hasn't been like that. It's still I feel that the second wave is coming now, and I mean, if we can kind of walk this road long enough, I feel that the economic incentive for making newer and better VR headsets, it's going to be there, and we're going to get the technology to be insane, and then it's going to be like no match. Everybody's going to do it, I feel.
yeah, I agree on that, and just just firing all that classic World War II weaponry in VR, you
Mm.
know, the Tommy gun and the BAR and the Garand, all that shit. I'm all for it.
Oh
Medal
yeah.
of Honor, please blow me away.
Yes. Okay. And now
The most
number
subjective.
one. The most subjective number one pick. It is Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormground.
I mean, that is the most subjective pick. I feel like that was on no one else's number one except us.
No,
Um,
I mean you can't pick any other game as number one. It's fucking Warhammer. Oh my! I mean, what more can you demand from a simple human being?
we exist to serve.
And we do exist to serve, most beneficent one.
And I mean, we're huge Warhammer fans here, especially 40k, I guess. But you know, any
fantasy as well. I
yeah,
mean, 40k is we're biased towards 40k, but still, fantasy is really, really within the realm of excellence.
yeah, and any Warhammer title that brings the big guns, I'm all for because it's a universe. Both fantasy and 40k has so much potential. There's so much you can do with it, and the more
Oh yeah,
you know, kind of like exposition exposure it gets, the better it is. So
yeah, that's my exact feeling. I mean, I get a little bit giddy when I see a good game being developed within the franchise.
yeah,
I'm like, oh yeah, this is good. This is gonna propel the brand, and yeah, that's not something I do for other IPs.
yeah. I feel this is a, but I mean, I haven't delved too much into Age of Sigmar. So do you want to like? But I know you have, right? You have some. You have
I
some
have some
investment.
knowledge.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so I do not know that much about Age of Sigmar, other than that when it was introduced, the board or game Age of Sigmar, it was a big upset, and people were not too happy because um, Age of Sigmar is basically what happens after the end times of the Warhammer Fantasy universe.
right.
So, like, the world is basically doomed and fucked, and yeah. And so this game portrays, and Sigmar basically just ports everybody up to his kind of heaven, and yeah, and then it's like the it's a very convoluted setting, but
But
this seems,
Sigmar is the emperor for the Empire faction, right? The humans.
yeah, he's basically like a god.
Yeah.
So in regular fantasy, Sigmar is long gone, but he was the absolute kind of god emperor. Let's
Yeah.
just put it like that. And but then during the end times, he comes back, and there's like a lot of shiz that happens. But this game seems to be set in like Age of Sigmar, and that the Sigmarines or or the Stormcast Eternals are going to try to take back basically the land that was overflown by chaos and dead.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically kind of the story as I understood it. But I don't know too much about Age of Sigmar. I'm more the old world type of guy.
Yeah. I think for my case, I know very little about Age of Sigmar, so I'm pretty stoked to get to delve into this universe in a game because it says that it's a strategic strategy, like turn-based,
Yeah.
and I'm all for that. That's right up my alley right there. So I think that's a great way, at least for me. That's an ideal way to get into this universe and get hyped for it.
Yeah, and I mean, Warhammer Fantasy, it just has so much lore, man.
Yeah.
You need to dive into the lore. If you wanna kind of something to fall asleep to, that's perfect. Just
Yeah.
like find some YouTube guy, lore master of Sotek or something, and just listen to like hours of lore from fantasy. It's glorious.
Yeah. According to IGN as well, it says like this strategy game, like Age of Sigmar, Stormground, could be a part of Games Workshop's push for more AAA Warhammer games, and I am so for that. Because you see, I feel like the potential for Warhammer games, the license there, it's essentially limitless because there's so many epic stories in there. And while Age of Sigmar probably is my first choice, but like in fantasy and especially in 40k, there's like thousands of stories and like thousands of battles that all are fucking super epic.
Kind of like we talked about the Warhammer 40k Space Marine game that being elaborated on, and there being like a sequel to that game, because we felt that game has so much potential, but it's like a little bit under delivering. It's a good game, absolutely a good game, but in some areas it's excellent. Like how it captures the 40k kind of feel, how a Space Marine should feel: heavy, bulky, very, very masculine, very violent and raw. But also we've talked about some of the shortcomings, that the enemy variety is kind of lacking. It's only orcs and some Chaos Space Marines and some demons.
Yeah, and it's only one planet, and it's just the story is just like in terms of the scale of the universe, it's very small. It's like very insignificant. So
yeah,
it was a nice starting platform, like you said, but they could have done so much more with it, and a sequel to that is one thing. But if it's like our dream game, essentially being like, you just take whatever Space Marine brought to the table, you perfect that kind of gameplay, you add a ton more customization and depth to the combat and everything, and like for the armors and everything, and you set it into Horus Heresy or in one of the Black Crusades or one of those like massive fucking happenings in the 40k universe, and you just like roll with it. And like you get, for Horus Heresy, the story's laid out. It's an epic space opera. It's like it's pretty much finished. It's the potential for many, many games, and there's so many characters, so many viewpoints.
I think that's perfect. You just start with one game, and you kind of make a billion DLCs. You want to make money? That's how you make money.
Yeah, but I have a feeling that they're gonna fuck it
I
up
would
with
buy
live
them.
service bullshit, you know. And
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course,
I
but
would rather, let's say you have one game, a massive game that kind of encompasses Horus's fall to chaos. So it starts with like the prologue being like, let's say it's from certain
like
like different
Lenore.
viewpoints, like let's say you start with one of the sons of Horus, or like the Luna Wolves, like let's say
Yeah,
Loken or Horus Aximand or something, and then you kind of follow Horus throughout thick and thin, and then
yeah,
you
but I
meet
think
up
that
with Garrow and everything. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but I think that in like in an ideal game, you should be like just a regular Space Marine, uh, and then you can kind of move up the ranks,
Oh yeah,
you know,
sure.
and just observe Loken and little Horus, and just look at the uh, kind of just be in awe of these heroes,
Yeah.
of the Legion, and
The,
then maybe after like a time, you can also attain a rank that are like you're maybe become a captain or something.
yeah. The only other thing that I'm thinking about that is like,
You're gonna change canon because you have to be there
yeah, well,
in like the
that's
the epic scenarios.
I think that's one thing, but then the other thing is that, is it gonna feel like you are just watching the story unfold, or does it feel like you are actually, that your actions matter?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Maybe you should be like one of the heroes, but then you can't kind of move freely. Then you have to be bound to the actual story.
yeah, but I mean, I think, well, this is for the developers to think of, but you
We're
know,
already disagreeing.
yeah, yeah, but either one of those I think could be really good.
Yeah.
And just moving up as well, I'm still pretty on for that, but like, I'm just afraid that it would be something like, let's say, Borderlands 3, where it felt like your character, yeah, you killed the bosses, but in terms of the story, you almost didn't say anything, you didn't do anything in the cinematics, you were always suspended or something and watching the other main characters do something. So
Yeah.
if they can manage to at least have your custom character do like a lot of epic shit that are like concurrent, then I'm all
Mm,
for it. Um,
yeah.
so that would be pretty cool. So and you can just like, the first game could start with Olenor, and then you like could end with when Horus like really takes the plunge, like when Galaxy in Flames finishes. Like that first
Yeah.
trilogy would be fucking amazing.
That would be insane. So I think it was THQ, right, that published the original Space Marine game, and
Yeah,
Sega,
yeah.
which bought THQ
Uh, yes,
in
and of
post.
course THQ went bankrupt, sold a lot of their licenses. They're back up now, I think, but then Space Marine. Uh, I don't know if I don't know what's happened to that license, but it seems that Games Workshop is really pushing for AAA Warhammer video games, right? And
Yeah.
I do think it's a matter of time before we see a more massive scale kind of a proper fucking badass Space Marine game. And it would be cool if they also, like, if they want to show like diversity, like these kind of things. There's so many badass female characters in the Warhammer universe as well. So it's like,
Oh
take your
yeah.
pick. You have everything represented there.
Mm-hmm. Adeptus Sororitas, Silent Sisters.
Yeah,
I mean, the Silent Sister, they are fucking machines,
yeah, they are.
fucking fighting, psychers and chaos
Yeah,
demons and all that jazz. The worst enemies in the galaxy they are fighting.
there's a potential for a lot of things. So get on it, Games Workshop.
Oh yeah,
Fix your
please make that
games.
game. Please make it. And that has been our objective top 10 list from Gamescom 2020.
Yeah, and remember what happens if you disagree with this list publicly. Your world turns into Rift Apart.
Yeah. And as to not dry out, stay humid.
Stay dank.